Hey Sam. So, you asked me to do this video and answer some questions about smoking. At first glance, I was like, yeah, no problem, let's do it. Come on in, you can ask some questions. You ask me your questions, we'll bounce them off each other, we'll have a great time. And then you answered me back. Your answer was not what I had anticipated, but I'm really appreciative for it. It's much appreciated. Your answer was exactly what I needed to slow myself down and take a look in my own mirror. How was I going to explain this without somebody to bounce these questions off of? What was I going to, what would I do? How would I handle it if I had to answer these questions myself? Now, I wasn't that deep into the thought, but subconsciously, I needed boots for that shit, okay? So I thought about it and I said, all right, well, I'm going to get somebody who's just as empathic as me, just as fun as me and spontaneous, and she and I are going to do this video together. So I brought in my cousin Shalane, and Shalane was here, and we did a video on it. In fact, I brought my son in, and then I also asked her daughter to join us. So I was bringing in children to prove, I think, in hindsight, I can see that the thought process there was to prove to the outside world that my children, that our children, mine specifically, but it would, to me, I think I'm not going to speak for Shalane, but for me, I was like, I don't need to put my child into this. Shalane would tell you the same thing. I don't need to put my child into this. They already live it. So then it hit me. Damn, Kate, you are going to have to eat your own big shit sandwich. That's what my brother always used to say to me. I never understood it, but, as I said, this needed boots. So this is what we're doing. The last thing I want to do is glorify smoking. Especially using children as proof of that, okay? I don't want to put a shine on smoking, so I'm keeping this gray. You notice it's gray. And doing these videos for me has never been about the smoking. It's never been about the smoking. So clearly, I'm reflecting something that I don't want to reflect out. I'm reflecting something in a way that's not clear, and I need to, obviously, clear the smoke out. That being said, I'm going to put this cigarette down, and I am going to work a lot harder on quitting smoking. There's that. And I haven't even answered your questions yet, and here we are. All right. So, I sat a couple more days, because this is taking me a long time, 4 or 5 days, maybe. I sat a couple days and I thought about quitting. I really did. And I'm not talking cigarettes, I'm talking about this project as a whole. Because I thought to myself, you know what, there's no way. There's no way. I couldn't get good with it in my heart. I don't want to glorify this. Where's my elastic? I don't want to glorify this. I don't want to make it seem like it's something that should be put on such a high pedestal. So I've decided to go through your questions one by one, as if I am hearing them for the first time. I have your questions written down here. I'm going to rip them out of the book here, just so that everybody knows that I'm doing this from a place of real. Not that I won't be enough for that, but here they are. You can't see them. Here they are. These are the questions. There are 2 pages of questions. Okay. You can tell this is difficult, huh? Talking about habits is hard. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right. Sam, your questions were, how many cigarettes do you smoke a day? My first thought is, too many. I smoke too many cigarettes a day. Too many. More than I can count. But if I had to be real, I would say probably pack a day. Pack a day. Sometimes a pack and a half. Sometimes a half a pack. It really depends on my mind state during the day. So, there. That's that question. Question 2. Have you ever been a pack-a-day smoker? I just answered that one. Yes. Yes, in fact. I have been a pack-a-day smoker. Have been, currently am. Alright, so which brands have you tried? Marlboro, Newport, Carlton, Marlboro, Newport, Carlton. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, some brand or variation of those. Which ones do I like the least or the most? I would tell you that I prefer a mentholated cigarette because I have justified it in my head to be an after-dinner mint. So there's that. I like the mentholated cigarettes. I'm specifically smoked Newport. I've justified that in a lot of ways as fun in my head so that I can keep my habit going. But the more that I sat and thought about that, the more I realized, yuck. That's pretty horrible. So anyway, my favorite cigarette of the day. Again, I'm smoking Newports. Oh yeah, which brand? Yeah, okay, all the same question. Do you smoke more when you're stressed or drinking? I have to split this question up a little bit. I don't drink. I don't drink. We keep our house pretty well dry because alcoholism is a thing that we've seen in both our families, and we don't want to keep it going. So we cut that off in our house. It's never been a problem for us. I say us, I'm talking about myself and my husband. So that's not something that we deal with. But I smoke more when I'm stressed than I do when I'm not stressed. I think that's probably the best way to put it. When I'm not stressed, it's more of a... When I'm not stressed, it turns into more of the habit. You know, just the idea of after breakfast, or when I first wake up, I'll have a cigarette. And then, you know, after breakfast, I'll have a cigarette if I've chosen to eat breakfast, which is not something I do either. But, you know, after lunch, you know, after meals, basically, after meals, after completing a project. It's like I've used it as a reward. Try and brighten my screen up a little bit. It's getting kind of dark out here. I've used it more or less as a reward. Wow, that's pixely. Okay, well, anyway. So I've used it as a reward. But I definitely, yeah, you're right. I definitely smoke when I'm stressed. Which is your favorite cigarette of the day? Oh. Okay. Which is my favorite cigarette of the day? I now understand. I think I just talked about which, you know, where I smoke cigarettes during my day. I think my favorite cigarette of the day is probably... no. My favorite cigarette of the day. The last one. The last one. The one I smoke before I go to bed. It's like, day's over, kid. You did a great job. Keep going. Tomorrow's another day, and now you get to rest. And the cigarette is like, you know, the end of that. how long can you go without a cigarette without bad cravings? How long can I go without a cigarette? As long as I want to. As long as I want to. The cravings get bad when I have a need. So when I get stressed, that's when the cravings will get, that's when I say, oh, I'm stressed. And so because I'm stressed, I need a cigarette. Because that is the way that it's kind of programmed into us, isn't it? Cigarettes relieve your stress. I mean, nobody ever says that, but, it does. Scientifically speaking, it, allows you to release some non-stressful endorphins into your brain, and the nicotine kind of takes hold of you. Like, there's it's a pretty big process, right? Maybe a little bit brighter. Fading out into the shadows over here. All right, let's see. Oh my gosh. Give me a brief second. I'm just going to turn the light on over my head. Maybe that will change things a little bit. Hold on. Oh, nope, it made it worse. Well, guess I should have used my cell phone for this. It's too dark. Okay, this is fine. Right, this is fine. Okay. Whew. All right, I guess I really am going to keep this gray. All right, so back to the questions. How long can you go without a cigarette without bad cravings? The truth of that matter is, as long as I am stress-free, I do pretty well. If I am working a full hour day, I will not have a cigarette. I can, when I was working at a place that required me to do an 8-hour day, I would have a cigarette at lunch, and I would have, some of the places offer you the 10 o'clock cigarette and then the 2 o'clock cigarette, and then, lunchtime. But there were days when I was able to make it all the way to lunch with no cigarette, and then make it all the way to close of business with no cigarette. And what I did to help myself get that far was remind myself that it was not that long until I could have my next cigarette. I just had to get through my stuff first. And that's how I played it in my brain. That was my time. Going outside, having that cigarette, that was my time that nobody could take away from me. I mean, I worked with, when I was working for the med school, I worked with people who would be like, man, I ought to take up smoking. You guys get so many breaks. And I'd think to myself, wow, that's kind of crappy. Maybe work should consider giving a 15-minute break just to have a 15-minute break. Breaks are important, right? But you could do good things with your break, or you could do not so good things with your break. And me, I smoke. So, how do you describe the cravings? I don't think of cravings as cravings. I think of them as anxiety. Cigarettes are a way to fix a problem. So if I'm having a problem, I'll say to myself, all right, I'm going to go think about this. And while I'm going to think about this, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to smoke a cigarette. And that's going to help me obtain the information that I'm looking for. Weird, right? But true, right? Okay. Let's see. What do you enjoy most about smoking cigarettes? The break. The break. I enjoy the break. I'm sure you would ask, can't you just take the break otherwise? And the truth of that matter is, yeah. Yeah, I can. I could. Will I? I hope so. I hope one of these times I make a good decision on this. It's just a better decision. Not a good decision as if it's wrong. Okay. I'm breaking into my conclusion that I've already written down. So, what do you enjoy least about smoking? What do I enjoy most? The process. The picking up the pack, knowing that they're mine, opening it up. I pick up this pack, I know that it's mine. I open it up, I pull it out. I put it to my mouth, I take a lighter, I light it, and poof, I have relaxation. At least that's what I've told myself. What do you enjoy least about smoking cigarettes? It's a pretty difficult thing to gauge. I don't like the smell. I don't like the fact that it has helped in the decaying process of my teeth. I do not like the fact that it has helped in my getting to the finish line for having COPD. I don't like the fact that every time I light a cigarette, the only thing I can hear in my head is that woman from that advertisement on the TV. The one who talks like this because she's got a drink, because she chose to smoke and now she can't breathe. See, I have it. I can talk that voice. But if I was talking that voice in, like, real time, it doesn't make me feel very good. Not at all. You've literally, these questions have taken my smoking from a carefree attitude to a crap. You better look into this, Kate. See how you feel about it. You know, like, is this really the best thing for you? Probably not. But was it helpful? Yes, because you said it helped. See, there's that. I said it helped. That's what I meant. I was talking to myself. All right. Next question is, do I consider smoking a sexy habit? No. No. Nope. Not at all. Do I know a lot about people who have made it look as if smoking was a sexy habit, so I can compare myself to that and say, oh, I see how you could see that? Because, yeah, I mean, in the videos, that's a cat fight over there. In the videos, there's, you know, the people with the long cigarettes and that kind of stuff, which I guess I guess I'm part of that group, right? Because I smoke the hundreds, you know. I see how somebody would feel as if somebody thought it was sexy to smoke. You know, maybe the reason that people feel, if sexy is a thing that can be felt while smoking, maybe the reason that people feel that way is because it takes the attention off of what they feel ashamed for doing in the first place. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, maybe that. Do I feel sexy while smoking? Well, if I ever did, I don't anymore. I don't think I've ever thought about it that way. It's just something that I do. It's something that I do without thinking. I mean, you saw how easy it was in the other... I watched it too. I watched it again. You saw how easy it was in that other video to pick up the pack of cigarettes and pull it out of the pack and put it to my mouth and just keep going while I was doing it. I've just gotten real good at it. I've been doing it a long time. I started smoking when I was 13 years old, and I did that to fit in. Not because I was peer pressured, but because everybody always went outside to smoke a cigarette, and there I was left sitting in the house. I wanted to be with everybody else. That was my bad decision. Mine. So I'm not going to blame it on peer pressure, because the pressure was me pressuring myself to want to be part of everywhere that everybody went, because I didn't want to be alone. So then that goes into like 7 other things that I'm not going to discuss right now. But the trick of it is, I figured it out. Smoking was like kind of like the last area of this that kind of has tied a lot of pieces together. So again, I'm very appreciative for you asking me to do these questions. I hope that this is, well, yeah. Are you attracted to other smokers? I am attracted to people in general. I think people are fantastically interesting, and whether they smoke or not has no indication on whether I am attracted to them. If you're speaking about, like, sexual attraction, no. No. It's not a prerequisite. It's not a prerequisite, because I do, so how could I judge somebody else for doing? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like that. Let's see. Do you try to hide it from family, kids, and friends? I used to when I first started. I would smoke with one family and hide it from the ones who I felt might shame me for it. When I first started smoking, the two groups, the two family sections that I was working with, both sides smokers, but one side, don't ever do it, you're going to die, and the other side, I do this because I'm stressed. So I saw both sides of that scale. But do I hide it from my family, my kids, my friends? No. There's no point. There's no point. I think it's a good thing to tell your kids about, that it's not good for them. I think it's important. Give them enough sense of self where they will look at smoking and go, I don't need that crutch. That's what I'm shooting for. I have 2 children, and neither child smokes. But, you know, do they try it as teenagers? Yeah, they do. But their decision was, nope, not for me. Which, yeah. Yeah, there it is. Do any of your children smoke? Would you be accepting if they did? Truth of the matter is, I will be accepting of anything my child does, my children do, or anybody else does for that matter, because it's their choice. Yeah, as long as they understand what comes with it. Yeah, but I think they understand what comes with it, which is why they don't. So I hope that they continue on that good path, and I'll keep trying to, support them through it. And both kids have been very, very, very supportive when I've discussed quitting. Both kids have asked me to stop. Not directly. They've just said things like, Mom, this is bad for you. I don't smoke around my children. I keep them away from it as much as possible. I don't want them to be, to have any issues. Okay, so getting a little harder. I was going to try real hard not to glorify this, but these are the hard questions, so here we go. Can you feel can you feel any negative effects from your habit? Like smoker's cough, shortness of breath, or anything else? Answer to that is, I don't have smoker's cough. I've been pretty lucky on that end. It's a lot of phlegm. It's a lot of stuff that comes up from those lungs every morning. That's why when you had asked me, what cigarette of the day is my favorite, I thought about it and I was like, yeah, the morning one. But then I thought about it and I'm like, no, because at that same point, you're getting up all the stuff that you've been snoring over the night before. And it gets stuck in there, Oh, mosquitoes are starting to come out. This is good. Okay, so I'm going to hurry this up a little bit. Smoker's cough, shortness of breath, yes, absolutely. I don't run marathons. My son will tell you I don't run unless something's chasing me. I don't know, it's not my thing. But, maybe if I wasn't a smoker and I could breathe, I wouldn't be making those kind of jokes. Maybe I'd be running. Who knows? Anyway. Or anything else. Anything else? Yeah. Yeah, my teeth. It's helped in the decay of my teeth. I can only guess. Again, I am 10 days clean of Coca-Cola, which is huge. And I smoke cigarettes, and I drink coffee. So these things are all things that break the enamel on your teeth. So any of these could have been culprit, and all 3 of them together, clearly, it's almost a definitive, yep, you're going to lose your teeth, that kind of stuff. But you don't have to if you make smart decisions and you don't have a fear of the dentist. There's just so many things attached to the reason I will tell people that I smoke. Stress. All right, so yeah, there's nothing good about it. Nothing good about it at all. So there was, let's see. Just want to get to that last part. I'm going to conclude this now. Sam, in closing, cigarettes are not the right tool for the job. Thank you very much for helping me see that. The choice to start was not wrong, was not bad. It was misguided. And now that I have a better understanding, the lesson I needed to learn was, don't reach for the cigarettes, reach for the lesson. So, thank you very much for allowing me to teach a lesson about cigarettes. I hope I answered your questions. I hope this is what you were looking for. But I don't think there's anything sexy about it. In fact, I think it's a habit worth putting down. So, Sam, thank you again very much from the bottom of my heart for having me sit in like 3 days of darkness all by myself, beating myself up for the fact that I smoke cigarettes, and then realizing, but wait, it's a choice. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing it. And I'm not somebody who just started smoking last week. I have been smoking since I was 13 years old. I will be, next month, 38 years old. Yikes. Yikes. But I'm not mad anymore. I know why I made the decision. And even though it's raining because there's stuff going on, I can see the light. Because I know why I made the decisions that I made. And now, with that, I can reflect things differently. So, as you are my witness, this will be the very, very last video that you see me holding a cigarette in my hand here on Kloud 9. Thank you very, very much for making me see that the only kinds of clouds I really need around me are the ones above my head. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.